We're back live at the Unidome, getting set for the 4A championship game between the Cedar Falls Tigers and the Heelan Crusaders. The Tigers will be designated the visiting teams. They are in the white uniforms, trimmed in red. The Heelan Crusaders in the blue and gold uniforms with a beautiful gold helmet. Cedar Falls came into this game 10-1, ranked number 2 or 3 just about all year long. Their only loss on the year to Ames 3-0 in a very heavy rain and a mud bowl at Ames. They beat Cedar Rapids, Washington 41-6 last Wednesday night, and then beat number 1 Davenport Central 28-0 to get this far. Heelan is 8-3. They have peaked a couple of times this season. They lost their first ball game of the year 26-21 to Dowling. Then they won 5 in a row before they lost 2 out of their last 3 to Sioux Falls O'Gorman and Sioux Falls Washington. They beat Ankeny 22-14 and Newton 14-3 to get this far. This Heelan team is not known for its great size, but they've got a great deal of pride over there in Sioux City, don't they, Mike?
Well, they really do, and of course it's the typical, as we come across the state, a Big 8 conference, which is very well known, a very powerful conference, and up in the western part of the state of Iowa, the Sioux Delta Conference. So, yes, there's a lot of pride riding on the line for both of these football teams tonight, Bob.
Cedar Falls will be kicking off. Heelan will be deep to receive. We should mention that Cedar Falls plays its home games here in the Dome. They've played their last 4 ball games here in the Dome. They've won them all. Dave Conrad's kicking off for the Cedar Falls Tigers. He's taken back there by Todd McCauley at the 1-yard line. McCauley very quick, turns it upfield, puts on a couple of great moves before he is finally tackled at the 21-yard line. So the Heelan Crusaders will start 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line. Brett Walker, a defensive back, 6 foot, 155-pound junior, made the tackle on McCauley. McCauley, by the way, had over 200 yards rushing a week ago in the victory over Ankeny. A 20-yard run back by McCauley, number 22. He'll start at the tailback spot. The quarterback is Rich McLaughlin, number 14. 1st and 10 Heelan, we're just underway. The handoff inside goes to the big fullback, Doug Skinner. And Skinner is brought down by Rick Herman, outside linebacker for the Cedar Falls Tigers. Let's set that offensive alignment now for the Sioux City Heelan Crusaders in the blue and gold. Their backfield will consist of quarterback. Well, we're going to take a look at the Cedar Falls offense. We'll get back to those starting lineups for you in just a moment. Obviously, Sioux City Heelan has the football. We're just underway here in the first period. 2nd down and 8. Inside handoff, we'll go to Moran, Steve Moran, who lines up as a flanker back, but will get the ball quite often. He's rushed for over 450 yards this season. Moran, 6'1", 170-pounder. He's the motion man on their double tight end offense that Bill Karpuk, the head coach of the Crusaders, likes to run. A gain of about 3 on that play. It'll set up a 3rd and 6 situation for the Crusaders on their opening possession. And McLaughlin will pass on 3rd down. Sets up the center screen to McCauley. McCauley brought down by Rick Herman. So Herman with a couple of big tackles for the Tigers defense. And the Tigers, who are known for their defense, stop them on 3rd down.
Okay, they did not go deep enough on this, Bob, as McLaughlin back to throw. He was hurried, but the pattern just not deep enough, and we've got a 4th down.
Tom White in to do the punting for the Crusaders. A sophomore punter just brought up to the varsity a couple of weeks ago. Gets off a good one here in the calmness of the Unidome. And it's brought back by Taylor Pine, who gets to the outside. Pine, 1 man to beat. Pine, they go all the way. Touchdown Tigers. So we mentioned that this Tiger team is explosive both offensively and defensively. The first time they touched the football, Taylor Pine goes 63 yards on a punt return. Taylor Pine, look at him use his blockers, and then when he gets to the outside, he is gone.
That's a picture play on the return, Bob. He, as you said, followed the blockers beautifully.
And Dave Conrad's in to attempt the point after. The soccer styler is good. And with just a couple of minutes gone in the ball game, the score, Cedar Falls 7, Heelan nothing. We'll be back after this.
Life is what you make it. Make more out of your life or enrich your life by taking part in the varied programs and classes offered Iowans close to home through one of 16 Iowa area community colleges and technical schools. Learn a new skill or learn about the world we live in. Education is for people of all ages, and whatever your interests, a community college or technical school is a great place to start. Contact the admissions office near you and make more out of your life.
A lot of banks offer you free checking when all you really get are free checks, as long as you maintain a minimum balance and pay a monthly service charge. At American Federal, we really do offer free checking with no minimum balance, no monthly service charge, and you'll earn 5 1/4% interest on your balance while you're writing as many checks as you need. No minimum balance, no monthly service charge, and free 5 1/4% checking at American Federal.
Dave Conrad's set to kick off again for the Cedar Falls Tigers, who just exploded for a 63-yard punt return by Taylor Pine, a defensive back. The first time they get the football. Tigers lead it 7-0. Here's Conrad's boot. Taken by Steve Phelps. And Phelps is down at the 26-yard line. Todd Letney, a former quarterback, now moved to wide receiver, made the tackle on the specialty teams for the Tigers. Both of these teams, we should mention, are double platoon squads. Okay, let's set that Heelan Crusader offense for you at this time. There they are, tackle to tackle. Stingley, Beacom, Pitts, Schreck, and Nyberg. We'll set that backfield for you momentarily. 1st and 10 Crusaders, the second time they've had the football, but they trail it 7-0. Here's McCauley hit into the backfield. The Tigers are winning the battle of the line of scrimmage at this point of the ball game. Terry Orth, who was injured in the win over Davenport Central last weekend, made the tackle that time. Orth returns. Okay, the offensive backfield now for the Crusaders. McLaughlin, Skinner, McCauley, and Moran in the offensive backfield for the Crusaders. 2nd down and 13 after a loss of 3 on the play. McLaughlin will throw. He's got a man out there. The pass is short, and it's knocked down by Taylor Pine, who is certainly the hero of this ball game at this point. Pass intended for Bill Kittler.
As McLaughlin goes back, he's rolling to the right. He's got the time. And his receiver was open, but it was just a little bit underthrown. And a good bit of defense by the secondary.
Taylor Pine with a big defensive play. 3rd down and 13 now for the Crusaders, who were stopped on their first possession. McLaughlin will throw again. Safety blitz was on. McLaughlin gets the ball out there. Complete to O'Brien. John O'Brien has the first down, a 15-yard reception. Taylor Pine made the tackle. Scott Engen was blitzing from the near side. And you'll see Scott Engen come from the bottom of your screen, number 9. And look at the nifty bit of work by this junior quarterback, McLaughlin. And he throws it off the run, complete to his tight end, John O'Brien.
First and 10 of the ball game, Bob.
First down of the ball game for the Heelan Crusaders. Pitch back to McCauley. Caught into the backfield again. The first man through, number 97, Troy Stedman. Terry Orth and Ray Chan are also there. Let's set that Cedar Falls defensive alignment for you at this time. Their defensive front four, Troy Stedman, Terry Orth, Dave Youngblood, and Ray Chan. Loss of half a yard, so we'll just call it 2nd and 10 with 7:40 left to play here in the opening quarter. Cedar Falls leads at 7-0. McLaughlin to O'Brien again. O'Brien already with a couple of receptions in this ball game. A gain of 6 on the play up to the 46-yard line. Kurt Jensen made the stop. The rest of the Cedar Falls defense Rick Herman, Kurt Jensen, and Mark Peterson are the linebackers. The defensive backs are Taylor Pine, who already showed you that 63-yard punt return, Scott Engen, Dennis Freeland, and John Tamasia. 3rd down and 4 for the Crusaders. Double tight end set, I formation. The pitch back to McCauley. He'll sweep to the near side. Very near to the first down marker as he gets up near midfield.
Time for that second first down as they swept to the outside, and they're still going to try to go to McCauley as much as they can to try to spring him because of his quickness. But what a big line he's running into. Chains are out, and it's going to be close, Bob. They're just shy of the midfield stripe.
The officials bringing out the chains at this point. And it's 1st and 10 Crusaders near midfield. We have a very veteran official crew right now. Robert Tverdik of Cedar Rapids and his Cedar Rapids crew. Robert Verbacek, Arnold Ponce, and John Christensen. Tverdik, by the way, and Verbacek in their 11th championship game. Paulson and Christensen in their 8th appearance in a championship game. From the Unidome. On the Iowa Television Network, this is the 4A championship game. Bob Hogan, Mike O'Connor bringing you all the action. Handoff inside to Skinner, the big fullback. And wrestled down by a host of white shirts, led by Troy Stedman and Kurt Jensen. We mentioned earlier that the Tigers have an excellent defensive front. It was 5 ball games before a team even scored on them, and only 2 touchdowns have been scored on their first string defensive unit. Heelan, on the other hand, a very gutty unit. Phil Carpuck likes to talk about the pride of this ball club. And you see pride written on the back of those navy blue jerseys. Engen blitzing again. Complete. Bill Kittler has the pass reception in Cedar Falls territory at the 43-yard line. Kurt Jensen and several other white shirts are there for the Tigers.
Here we go back again. Flopping. And that's about a 6-yard pickup, moving the ball to the 44-yard line. I think Heelan's probably throwing more than they have most of the year, Bob, but that's obvious when you look at that front 4 of Cedar Falls.
McLaughlin already in the ball game, 4 or 5 for 26 yards. Inside counter. They get nothing. Dave Youngblood right there on the stop of McCauley. So it'll bring up a 4th and 3 situation. As the Crusaders are moving the football with a couple of first downs here in the opening quarter. And Taylor Pine electrified this crowd with a 63-yard return of a punt. The Tigers have not had the ball offensively at all. Okay, big play. 4th down and 3. Moran is in motion. Double tight end. It's Moran, the ball carrier. He's got the first down. A big hole is opened up the center of that Crusader line. Joe Pitts, John Schreck, and Joe Beacom doing an outstanding job. Phil Carpuck, by the way, felt that Schreck is really an all-state candidate at 6'3", 180-pound senior. He's number 62, the right guard. That's 3 first downs for the Crusaders on this drive. 1st and 10 at the Tigers' 38-yard line. Moran again in motion. The pitch this time to McCauley. Ooh, some great shifty moves. And McCauley gets it inside the 35, inside the 34, where he's brought down by Taylor Pine. McCauley showing some great moves. We saw it on the opening kickoff return, and some great moves right there.
Bob, that's what he likes to do, and he's done so well all season long. He's got the speed, but he can make some things happen out there.
And we have an official's timeout at this point. Check over the equipment. You know, we haven't had an opportunity to talk about some of the coaches, and we're going to do that when we come back. The score right now, Cedar Falls 7, Heelan nothing. We'll be right back.
This man settled for cheap, hard-to-operate windows because he wanted to save money. Let's compare his windows to Monray windows from Mullen Manufacturing. Initially, Monray windows do cost more. After all, they're made better. So in the long run, Monray's better construction pays off in higher energy efficiency. Take it from the window experts at Mullen Manufacturing. It costs you less to invest in Monterey windows.
Mullen Manufacturing, saving you energy, saving you money.
We're back to the action. They got back a little sooner than we anticipated. Rich McLaughlin hit on a short little pass to Steve Moran. The Tigers defensive unit have called a timeout at this point after this play right here. So you only missed this play, and we brought it right to you on the Iowa Television Network. McLaughlin showing tremendous poise, even though the Tigers are stunning on him sometimes, bringing in a safety blitz from time to time.
They have to be pleased the way they're moving this football against a very impressive Cedar Falls defense. And Bob, as you mentioned, took teams 5 weeks into the season to score on this first unit of Cedar Falls. And also, as we look at the Heelan Crusaders now, the sideline chatter with Cedar Falls. So the strategy is starting to unfold here very early. 7-0. Cedar Falls leading. We have 3:28 left to play in the first quarter.
McLaughlin already 5 of 6 for 38 yards. Impressive statistics here in the opening quarter with 3:28 left to play in the first quarter. The Tigers lead at 7-0, as Mike O'Connor just mentioned. Interesting formation there by the Crusaders. McCauley. Can he get to the outside? No, he cannot. He is tripped up at about the 21-yard line by Mark Peterson. Mark Peterson, who leads this ball club in tackles at the linebacker slot. 34 solo tackles by Mark Peterson, number 38. We were going to talk about the coaches in this ball game. Pat Mitchell is a graduate of UNI. He has had his teams into the playoffs 3 times, but they've never gotten this far. Phil Karpuk, the man you just looked at right there, the coach of the Heelan Crusaders. He played his ball at Heelan. He's had his team into the playoffs 3 times. Intercepted. The pass is intercepted by Pine. Taylor Pine squelches this Crusader drive. Taylor Pine, the man who ran back the punt 63 yards for a touchdown, intercepts the pass and brings it back to the 34-yard line.
Here it is again.
The pass is just a little bit behind him.
What a night for Taylor Pine. 63-yard punt return for the only scorer thus far in the game. And he's made some key defensive plays.
So for the first time in the ball game, we see the Cedar Falls Tigers offensive unit. That's Dave Conrad's in motion. Scott Treiber will throw to his big tight end, Mike Flagg, on 1st and 10. On the coverage for the Heelan Crusaders is Brian Sandman. Mike Flagg, we'll talk about him quite extensively in this broadcast. He's being highly recruited. Lots of big college football scouts in attendance for this guy. 6'6", 240 pounds. He can catch the football in a crowd. Outstanding basketball player as well. Inside handoff. This is Nick Winkie, and Winkie fumbles the football. Penalty marker is down. The Crusaders have it. Little extracurricular activity there. As you see, Scott Treiber on the drop play to Nick Winkie, a tremendous hole. And Winkie will fumble at the end of this run, Mike.
Good hit right there. He just stripped him of the ball.
Number 27, Doug Birdsell, a 5'10 senior, recovered that fumble, and the penalty was against Cedar Falls. So the Crusaders will take over after turnovers both ways. 2:27 left to play in the first period. The Tigers of Cedar Falls leading the Crusaders of Heelan 7-0. Engen on the blitz again. McLaughlin going deep. He has a man out there. Complete at the 5-yard line. Doug Persinger got behind the coverage. Complete down at the 7-yard line. They marked the football. Dennis Freeland and John Tamasee on the coverage for Cedar Falls.
Here we go again, and this is the longest pass play of the night thus far for Heelan. Rolling out of the pocket. Here's McLaughlin, and Persinger has been one of his top receivers all year long, and the senior, great grab right there at the 10, takes her down, and the ball now at the 7-yard line. 5th first down for Heelan, and it's 1st and goal to go. Again, Cedar Falls leading 7-0. We have 2:16 remaining to play in this, the opening quarter.
A 38-yard pass play from McLaughlin to Persinger. Persinger, the 3rd leading receiver on this ball club. Well, a lot of people expected the Crusaders to run the football early in this one, but they've gone to the air. They feel that maybe they can't run against this very tough interior line of the of the Tigers. They've got to the air very effectively, except for one interception. McLaughlin will throw again. Touchdown, Crusaders. Steve Moran in the back of the end zone accepts that pass from Rich McLaughlin. And the Heelan Crusaders are on the board.
Here we go for the touchdown to make it a 7-6 ball game. McLaughlin, he's got some time. Now he's being chased out of the pocket, rolls right. Moran is wide open. Got it. Touchdown, Steve Moran. And it's a 7-6 football game. With the try for the point after, we'll try and lock this game with 2:10 remaining in quarter number 1.
Doug Skinner in to attempt the extra point. A very fine fullback for the Crusaders. And it is good. And we have a tie ball game. The score, Cedar Falls 7, Heelan 7. We'll be back with plenty more action like this right after these words.
The convenience of First National's Instant Access just keeps on growing. Now you can use your Instant Access card at over 300 locations around Iowa, at any First National office, Hy-Vee, or Hinky Dinky, and a brand new location at the Marion Health Center. Plus, 29 locations in Omaha and 4 in Sioux Falls. First National's Instant Access, the original, and still growing.
We're proud you call us first.
A two-play, 45-yard drive. After the fumble by Nick Winke, the Crusaders punch it in through the air. Already in the ball game, Heelan with 5 first downs. Cedar Falls, no first downs. They've only had the football for 2 offensive plays. Their score came on a 63-yard punt return. Steve Moran, the man who scored the touchdown for the Crusaders, will be kicking off. A short kick. And it's fumbled at the 20-yard line. A mad scramble for the football. And the Crusaders have it. Back-to-back fumbles by the Crusaders. Joe Lauer has this one. Joe Lauer from that great wrestling family.
Here's the replay again. They fumbled the opening kick right there. Came right off the shoulder pads. The loose ball looked like Cedar Falls had it there, but it squirts away. And the Crusaders very alertly now have excellent field position in a tie football game at the 24-yard line.
The Tigers came into this ball game the heavy favorites, but the Heelan Crusaders are really giving them a ball game. Skinner, the fullback, inside handoff. Big gain up through the middle, a gain of about 6 or 7 yards. Rick Herman on the stop for the Tigers. But the Crusaders showing that all that great pride they have, even though they came in here the underdog. And they are really, really excited at this point. 1:15 left to play in the opening period. We thought we'd have a defensive struggle. Instead, the offenses are moving. I formation. Moran, the motion man. McLaughlin will pitch back to McCauley. McCauley trying to get to the outside, and he's knocked back by Kurt Jensen. Kurt Jensen right there. They say that Jensen can read what the offensive team does better than just about any high school linebacker. He is really a honey of a ball player, number 42, Kurt Jensen, a 6 foot, 175-pound senior. Obviously no effect on the Crusaders that they only played 1 game in the Dome this year. That was in the Dakota Dome in Vermillion, South Dakota. They're making it look like it's their home turf. 3rd and 2. Skinner is the motion man. Inside handoff. And this is going to be very, very close to a first down. McCauley has the first down for the Crusaders. Mark the football at the 13-yard line.
That's their 6th first down of the night, Bob. And if my figures are right, interesting to note, Cedar Falls does not have a first down, but of course they had the 63-yard punt return. And we're tied.
The Tigers have only run 2 offensive plays at this point. And that's the end of the first period. The score, Cedar Falls 7, Heelan 7, and the Crusaders are driving. We'll be back with second quarter action right after these words.
Culligan's revolutionary AquaSensor water conditioner saves water, saves salt, saves energy, recharges only as it senses your needs. Saves, too, by preventing scale that wastes energy, chokes pipes, plumbing, and appliances. See the saver, Culligan's exclusive AquaSensor. Call your Culligan man.
It's easy to own a Culligan AquaSensor Saver, completely automatic, and only Culligan has it. Make a small down payment with terms to fit your budget. Call your...
Just down the road, real nearby, there's a 24-hour instant cash banking center. Does anything a teller can. It's fast, it's easy, always a convenience, sometimes a downright necessity. Instant cash. See you, Northwestern Bank. Thank you, friend.
Back live at the Unidome to start the second quarter. You missed one play. Here it is. Rich McLaughlin, this fine-looking junior quarterback for the Crusaders, rolled out and picked up about 3 yards down to the 11-yard line. So we'll call it 2nd down and 7 for the Crusaders, and we'll run out of the I here to start the second period of play. We're tied at 7 apiece. McLaughlin looking. Incomplete at the end zone, and we have a flag down. Dennis Freeland is called for pass interference at the goal line. The pass was intended for John O'Brien.
We'll look again, Bob, and let you viewers call this one yourself. They have called pass interference against the Tigers right over the middle. Was the ball to him and contact made? That's your decision. The referee said interference. First and goal now for Heelan in a 7-7 football game.
Mark the football at the 5.5-yard line. First and goal for the Crusaders. Inside Skinner, the big fullback, blasting his way for about 3 yards down to the 2. Well, the Cedar Falls defense has to be getting a little bit tired. They've been on the field all game long.
And we've got a player shaken up on the field right now, Bob. So an official timeout. Coach Phil Carpuck, the first one to get there. But again, the Crusaders knocking on the door in a game that started out with an electrifying, or very early in the game, an electrifying punt return by Taylor Pine of Cedar Falls. But Heelan has to be pleased the way they've moved the ball against a very, very fine Cedar Falls defense. And Bob, we know that this Tiger defense has all the credentials a team could ask for.
It was very interesting. We mentioned it early in the ball game that no one even scored on the Tigers until the 5th ball game of the year. Only 2 touchdowns was scored against their first unit all season long, but I guess this is what championship games are made of. Heelan wouldn't have gotten this far had they not been an outstanding football team. Hayden Fry and the Iowa Hawkeye football squad have supplied us with plenty of thrills this season, but basketball is just around the corner. This year, the Iowa Hawkeye basketball team will start off their season at home against the Russian national team. Join us on the Iowa Television Network Monday, November 22nd, as the Hawkeyes take on the Russians.
Bob, the injured player, John Nyberg, a 6'3", 190-pounder, we're happy to say he is walking off the field, but is getting some help, so we hope that it's not a serious injury. Here we go, 2nd down and goal at the 2.
.11:37 left to play before halftime. A tie ball game, 7 apiece. Here come the Crusaders. It's McCauley, the second man through. McCauley hit by Youngblood first, squirmed his way inside the 2. Mark it squarely right between the 1 and the 2-yard line. It will be 3rd and goal at that point. Many teams will bring in double tight ends in this type of situation, but the Crusaders play like that all the time. Their double tight ends are John O'Brien and Bill Kittler. Deuce backfield behind McLaughlin. 3rd and goal. Touchdown, Crusaders. Doug Skinner, the fullback, with a 2-yard touchdown, and the Crusaders are top of this score.
Here we go again, just simply power football. Went to Skinner first, faking to the outside back, and a good second effort there gets him in for the touchdown. And we've got us a 13-7 football game here at the Unidome in our Class 4A football championship.
And Skinner, the man who just scored 6 points, would love nothing more than to add another. This 5'11", 170-pounder. Bill Karpuk said that he had great strength, great intelligence, and he showed you just a little bit of it right there. And this one is blocked. The Tigers come streaming in and block Skinner's extra point, so the score remains Heelan 13, Cedar Falls 7. We'll be back with more right after this.
Life is what you make it. Make more out of your life or enrich your life by taking part in the varied programs and classes offered Iowans close to home through one of 16 Iowa area community colleges and technical schools. Learn a new skill or learn about the world we live in. Education is for people of all ages, and whatever your interests, a community college or technical school is a great place to start. Contact the admissions office near you and make more out of your life.
It's Holden Reed Ford Fiat's goodbye to the 82 sale on all their remaining 1982 Ford pickups. Ford rebates up to $1,300. Holden Reed discounts up to $1,500. There are nearly 30 units to choose from in the F100 through F350 series. You'll never buy a new Ford pickup for less. For the best deal in town and super service, stop in at Holden Reed Ford Fiat. Do it today and take advantage of their goodbye to the 82 sale. Holden Reed Ford Fiat, 6th and Chambers, Sioux City.
The score in the second quarter with 11 minutes left. Heelan leads Cedar Falls 13-7. A tremendous offensive display by the Crusaders. And Moran kicking off. And again, the Tigers have trouble with handling the football. And they'll bring it back just to the 10-yard line. The Tigers playing on their home field have fumbled the football 3 times. This one, however, is recovered by the Tigers. Mike Howard returns it to the 11-yard line. By the way, the man who came in and blocked that extra point attempt just moments ago was Big Ray Chan, a 6'3", 215-pound defensive end. 1st and 10 Tigers. There's the view from the line of scrimmage. The handoff to their big, strong back, Nick Winke. Pat Behrens, the left linebacker, made the stop for the Heelan Crusaders. A gain of 4 on the play. The Tigers' offensive alignment now. Their quarterback is Scott Treiber. The running backs, Winke and Bean. The flanker will be Dave Conrads, and we'll set that offensive line for you momentarily. 2nd down and 6 now, with 10:08 left to play in the second quarter. Winke trying to get to the outside, knocks down one man. Finally forced out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Nick Winke showing you some of that explosiveness. And Mike will take a look at this one again.
Well, Winke shows us right there why he's the power runner. Look at that. Shoulder then just keeps those legs moving, hits again, and drives forward until they finally run him out of bounds. Nice move and nice run.
That's the first down of the ball game for the Tigers. Just their 4th offensive play, even though we're early in the second quarter. Treiber on the option. And L.D. Bean across the 30-yard line to the 31. Bean is a big guy. 6'2", 195 pounds. Average over 5 yards a carry.
Here we look again, and they swing it right. And watch Bill Nelson makes a fine shoe-top tackle. And we don't see down farther along the field, but that may have been a touchdown-saving tackle because he had some daylight ahead of him.
So 2nd and 3. Winke will try it to the far side. Winke will pick up 1. Greg Shelley making the stop for the Crusaders. We wanted to mention the offensive front line for the Cedar Falls Tigers. Their wide receivers are Todd Letney and Jeff Heckroth. And from tackle to tackle, Greg Cow, Bob Bisbee, Michael Wellen, Sean Alexander, and Ken Koltap. The tight end is Mike Flagg. 3rd down and 1. Straight ahead, it's Winky for the first down. Across the 35, up to the 38-yard line. Nick Winky. On 199 carries this year, Winky rushed for 1,165 yards. He's brought down that time by Pat Barron. Let's set the Heelan defense for you. Brian McNaughton, Jim Stowe, Ryan Emerson, Pat Backman, and Greg Shelley are the defensive alignment for the Heelan Crusaders. And no play this time. Timeout before the snap of the football.
There's an official timeout. Now they start the clock again. 8:35 left to play in the first half. 13-7, Heelan leading Cedar Falls.
We'll set those linebackers and defensive backs for the Crusaders, doing an outstanding job. Scott Treiber is intercepted. Sandman returns it to the 44-yard line. Sandman playing center field as they try to go to Big Mike Flagg. A tremendous interception near midfield.
Just plain and simple here, Bob. The ball was overthrown, and Sandman playing deep goes high to grab it and returns it. And the Heelan defense comes up with a big play, gets their team very good field position. Still plenty of time this second quarter.
8 minutes left to play, in fact, in this second period from the Unidome, the 4A championship game. Heelan leads Cedar Falls 13-7. One to Cinderella story this is. These Crusaders, McCauley trying to get outside. Penalty marker is down at the 46-yard line. John Tamasia and Ray Chan on the tackle. And we'll check out this flag. Todd McCauley. Quick, great speed to the outside. Rushed for over 1,100 yards this season. And the flag will go against the Crusaders. A holding call, 15 yards. Mark the football back in Crusader territory at the 39-yard line. The big story of this ball game, however, has to be the 3 turnovers against the Tigers. And Bill Carpuck trying diligently to call a timeout. He has called a timeout. And I believe he's going to go out and talk to the official. Bill Carpuck going out to talk to Robert Tverdick, the referee in this ball game.
It is a charged timeout to Heelan, and the purpose, obviously, Coach Carpuck, as you can see him right at the 40-yard line. The discussion goes on now. 7 minutes, 36 seconds left to play in the first half. 13-7 to the score. Heelan leading Cedar Falls. And these two football teams are having themselves quite a game here in the Unidome. I'll tell you, Bob, when we have just a moment, people in the state of Iowa that are here certainly appreciate this dome on a night like tonight.
Don't they, though?
I don't know what that wind chill factor is outside, but none of us would like to be there. In fact, I'm told in the state of Nebraska, tonight's playoff games were postponed until they hope tomorrow when it might warm up a little.
I understand the temperatures are in the teens, winds blowing about 30, 40 miles per hour. And here, a beautiful 72 degrees, of course, calm inside. Inside handoff will go to Moran, and Steve Moran is tackled by Jensen. Kurt Jensen is the first Tiger defender there to greet him. A loss of 2 on the play. But it has been the passing show led by Rich McLaughlin that has led this Crusader ball club to a 13-7 lead midway through the second period. Second down and 28 after first a 15-yard holding call and then a 3-yard loss on that play. Second and 28. McLaughlin will roll. He'll throw. Going deep. Almost intercepted, but the Tigers defenders ran into each other. John Tamasia was there along with Rick Herman.
Here we look again. This, of course, was the play. They needed 28 yards to pick up a first down. McLaughlin back. He's got the time. Going, and once again, the pass maybe just a little underthrown, and 2 defenders simply collide, or it would have been an interception.
So 3rd and 28 now for the Crusaders. Obviously, a long, long way to go. Andy Seichner, the free safety, drops way back this time. McLaughlin in pressure. He'll be sacked. Ray Chan has him, and a flag goes down. A flag goes down. Unsportsmanlike conduct will be the call. You can imagine that emotions are riding very, very high. Both teams want to win. And something obviously that quarterback McLaughlin said that time to Chan after the play.
This is a third down play, 3rd and 28. McLaughlin didn't have any time. He then had to roll out of the pocket, never even got a chance, Bob, to look downfield. The tempers started to flare after McLaughlin was down, and some words and a tap on the helmet or two.
So 4th and an eternity, 4th and 47. So obviously a punting situation. Cedar Falls ran the last one back. This is Taylor Pine again. He gets to the outside. Penalty marker is down near midfield. And Taylor Pine is down also in Crusader territory at the 34-yard line. But let's check out this penalty marker. A clipping call against the Tigers. So the Tigers will start 1st and 10 back at their own 40-yard line instead of the great field position that was afforded that time by Taylor Pine. What a ball game Taylor Pine has had already. An interception, a 63-yard run back for a touchdown of a punt earlier in the ball game. We have a injured player, and that's the holdup at this point. We'll try to pick up his number if we can. I believe that is Jeff Stingley. Jeff Stingley, a big lineman, 6'2", 212-pound junior. Yes, it is. Number 54, Jeff Stingley. Being helped off the field at this point.
6'18".
We've talked about, excuse me there, Mike, I want to talk an interesting story in this one. Dave Welter is one of the assistant coaches for the Tigers. He's up here in the press box. Dave Welter used to be the baseball coach at Sioux City Heelan, and he's now the baseball coach at Cedar Falls. And he says, you know, my allegiance is almost mixed at this point. This is Scott Triber trying to get outside, and Scott Triber is dragged down. Bill Nelson has got him. Nelson, right side linebacker. And Scott Triber is also down at this one.
We're going to look at this one again, Bob. Triber optioning out to the right. Eludes the man right there. Gets to the line of scrimmage. But he will sustain an injury. He is still down. There's the hit right there, and in the neighborhood of a knee or an ankle. So they're looking at Scott Triber right now.
If you're wondering, the Tigers do have an outstanding backup quarterback in Rick Majerus. He is a junior who has come on to lead them offensively several times, but Scott Triber appears to be getting up on his own, under his own power, walking alongside Pat Mitchell. We want to remind you that the Hawkeye basketball season begins on November 22nd. Evening starts with our very popular pregame show, Hawkeye Close-Up, followed by the game at 7:30. Follow the Hawks all season long on the Iowa Television Network. So Triber is replaced in the ball game by Rick Majerus, who completed passes worth 371 yards in the ball game in this season, I should say. Here's Nick Winkie. Winkie getting outside. Boy, he's tough to go down. Winkie into Crusader territory down at the 48-yard line, brought down by Greg Shelley. Shelley considered one of the better defensive linemen for this Crusader ball club. You know, we never got an opportunity to set the linebackers and the corners for you for this Crusader ball club, so we'll do that at this point. Pat Behrens and Bill Nelson, the linebackers, Doug Birdsell and Steve Feltz, to the corners. The safety men are Brian Salmon, who already has an interception, and Jim Meyer. Nick Winkie on the first down carry, and Winkie's got 7 more. Pat Behrens, we just mentioned, 5'11", 172-pound senior, makes the stop for the Crusaders. But the Tigers continue to move this football, a gain of 7. Winkie, unofficially, 6 carries for 30 yards. Under 5.5 minutes left to play before halftime. 13-7 is your score. Heelan leads it. Winkie, the ball carrier, but immediately brought down by Brian McNaughton. You know, they say he has great quickness, great instinct for the football. You saw it right there, Mike.
Watch this play. This is a fine play by McNaughton. got the head down. He just reached up and hit him at the shoe tops.
The Crusaders will play a multiple defense most of the time in a 5-2 set. Right now it's kind of a 5-3 set, if you will. Majerus will pitch back. Flag is down. L.D. Bean trying to get outside. He's brought down to the 31-yard line, but a flag is down along the line of scrimmage. McNaughton is again there on the stop.
It's interesting to note as we look at the play again, the pitch out. Bean coming to the outside. Keep in mind, McNaughton made that last tackle on the right side. He's clear over on the left side of the field, and he does follow that football. But for Cedar Falls, a big penalty, and it will bring the ball back.
5-yard procedure penalty against the Tigers. 3rd down and 8 now. You would imagine a passing situation for this junior quarterback, Majerus, who has replaced Scott Triber. Majerus will fade back. Under pressure now, gets it off for Bean. And Bean catches the football out of bounds. Out of bounds. Jerry Stabile on the coverage for the Crusaders.
Again, he needed this for the first down, rolling right. But he is under great pressure. Throws it, ball is caught, but watch the receiver. He's out of bounds. 4th down.
So a 4th and 8 situation. Nick Winke, who is the outstanding running back for the Tigers, is also their punter. Back deep for the Crusaders is McCauley. McCauley at about the 10-yard line. Winke gets it off a very high punt. McCauley calling for a fair catch at the 10-yard line. McCauley with the fair catch at the 10-yard line, so the Crusaders 90 yards away now from their end zone. They lead by 6 points in this ball game. Anything you've seen so far, Mike O'Connor, that has surprised you?
Well, I suppose from a Heelan standpoint, they normally don't like to throw the ball as much as they have. It's been successful for them tonight, and the main reason has been the fact that Cedar Falls has been tough defensively. I think probably that Cedar Falls has not moved the ball more consistently would surprise somewhat, but Bob, this is a fine football game.
1st and 10 for the Crusaders, leading by 6. Double reverse. This is Moran trying to get outside to the near side and tripped up at the 14-yard line, and a flag goes down. John Tamasia tripped up Moran, the ball carrier, but a flag is down.
They try to go to the trick book. It really didn't fool Cedar Falls. Moran looks to the inside, now cuts it out, but he's just running out of real estate.
And you saw the clip right there. It was very obvious.
And that really hurts.
Especially when you are where they are. The Crusaders now backed up to the 6-yard line. But Heelan showing you that tremendous pride, a word that is written on the back of their jerseys. They lead it by 6 points at this point. 4:13 left to play before halftime. The handoff to McCauley. Trying to get outside. McCauley with great speed. He could go all the way. Todd McCauley. McCauley pulls up lame at the 30-yard line. McCauley with a 64-yard run. Todd McCauley is forced out of bounds by Dennis Freeland. Wow, what great speed.
Well, that one, of course, worth another look. And here comes McCauley. This is what he's all about. This is what he's done all season long for Heelan. And for Freeland, we're going to see him come up. It's almost a foot race. Freeland does have a slight angle, but McCauley in many cases would simply outrun a man. So Freeland has proven to us right there that he's got speed. He'll come into your picture, and McCauley just cuts her out of bounds. But a big gainer for Heelan with 4 minutes left to play in this first half.
McCauley, of course, came up lame there. He ran the last 20 yards. He was clutching at his right leg. We'll have to check out that injury situation. 1st and 10 now. And it's McLaughlin with the quarterback sneak. Across the 30 down to the 28-yard line. The clock running down with 3:55. Dave Youngblood and Kurt Jensen making the stop for the Tigers. An outstanding offensive show by the Crusaders. Some turnovers have hurt the Tigers. A couple of fumbles and a pass interception at this point. An electrifying 63-yard run by Todd McCauley has put the Crusaders back in business again. Here's McLaughlin rolling. He's looking. Incomplete down to the 15-yard line. Intended for O'Brien. John O'Brien, one of 3 tight ends that head coach Phil Carpuck will use. O'Brien along with Persinger and Kittler. If you joined us a little bit late, Taylor Pine ran back a punt, gave the Tigers early life in this one, a 7-0 lead. But then the Heelan Crusaders came roaring back. Touchdown passes from McLaughlin to Moran, and a fullback dive by Skinner has given them a 13-7 lead. And a 5-yard march off now against the Crusaders. Too much time. Third and 13. Passing down for the Crusaders. Sean Gill has replaced McCauley. He's number 24. McLaughlin will throw. He's looking to the end zone. And it's almost intercepted by Taylor Pine, and it is knocked down. O'Brien was out there. Moran was out there for the Crusaders. The pass was knocked down by Taylor Pine, who really has a nose for the football, doesn't he, Mike?
Sure does. And as McLaughlin drops back, he's going for the 6 points right here. He sends that all the way to the end zone. Watch the defense. Ball is deflected up in the air. It was a loose ball for a moment, but it comes up 4th down now and 13. 3:17 left to play in this first half. It's 13-7. Heelan leading Cedar Falls.
And the fine center for the Crusaders, Joe Pitts, came limping off the field. He's replaced in the ball game. And the Crusaders will punt. And a penalty marker goes down. You cannot bat the football in high school rules. You cannot bat the football in high school rules inside the 20-yard line. And that's what those penalty markers are all about. So the Tigers will start 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Good look at Phil Carpuck. Carpuck, who played at Heelan in the 1960s, mid-1960s.
Well, Bob, Phil Carpuck was asking. That was more than the penalty that we thought. Look at where that ball. That ball is going to be placed on the 48-yard line in Cedar Falls territory.
And what they have to do at this point is punt all over again. You bring your punting unit on again, and you punt all over again at 3:07. So Tom White again in to do the punting, this time standing back at his own 38-yard line. 4th down for the Crusaders. And this time, he punts it into the end zone. So this time, the ball will be marked at the 20-yard line. 3 minutes left to play here in the first half. You know, on the road in the playoffs, it's always kind of interesting. You get little stories within stories. And a few years back, Heelan went and played a game at Newton in 1977, and they wanted to obviously win badly. They thought they had a great football team, and they couldn't pick up the victory. As the Tigers go 1st and 10 with a run there to Nick Winkie. But this year, they were able to avenge that loss. The Heelan Crusaders were, knocking off Newton and getting into this championship game. Greg Shelley made the stop that time on Nick Winkie, a gain of 7. Winkie averaged around 6 yards a carry this season. 2nd down and 3. The ball back at the 27-yard line. Scott Treiber, who's back in there after the injury, tries to pass it out to Winkie, and it's incomplete at the 25-yard line. That stops the clock with 2:27 left to play before halftime. Jerry Stabile, 5'7", 140-pounder on the coverage for the Crusaders. Treiber 0 of 3 and 1 interception at this point of the ballgame. Treiber came in completing over 50% of his passes. In fact, nearly 60% of his passes. Draw play. Winky, can he get outside? He breaks one tackle, breaks a couple more. He's got the first down. Wow, that's just tremendous leg drive. Pat Behrens makes the stop this time for the Crusader. Clock will stop again. 2:19 left to play here in the first half. Crusaders leading it by 6. Majerus in the ball game again, and Majerus is sacked back at the 26-yard line. Brian McNaughton is the man right there. Majerus replaced Scott Triver on that play, and he is sacked immediately.
We're going to look again, and of course, Phil Carpuck has to be pleased with the way his defense has played this first half. Excellent along that line of scrimmage and keeping the pressure on that Tiger quarterback.
This Heelan team shut out 3 of its opponents this year. And they have shut out the Tiger offense. The only score came on the specialty unit. Screen pass to the near side. LD Bean has to wait for it. And that allowed the Crusader defense to get to him in a hurry. Bean is tackled by Behrens and by Bill Nelson at the 33-yard line.
Here they get the pass out in the flat now, of course, as we work the clock with just over a minute to go. Heelan may be more than happy to just give up a little bit of yardage. And they complete it, swing it out, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and 8 play.
So 3rd and 8 now as we go back to live action. Majerus is sacked way back at the 17-yard line. A penalty marker goes down. Pat Behrens met Majerus head on. And we'll sort out this penalty marker for you. Thrown in an area where you might suspect holding. And they're talking it over with the Heelan captain, Steve Feltz, 5'11", 175-pound senior. I'm sure they will decline this one. Holding. Decline. So a 4th down now with 52 seconds left to play in the first half. 13-7 Heelan. A surprising ball game at this point. The Crusaders have certainly dominated, except for a long punt return in the opening moments of this one by Taylor Pine. Nick Winky at the 10-yard line. Back deep is Steve Feltz, and we've got a problem. Oh, Winky just gets it off. How in the world did he get that one off? Doug Birdsell with the fair catch at the 48-yard line, but Winky averted disaster.
What an effort. The snap will be high. And it looks like nothing but trouble, but he rolls right, looks downfield, and on the run gets off a pretty fair country punt. The ball now at about the 48-yard line in Tiger territory with 23 seconds left to play in the half.
Somehow Winky gets off a 26-yard punt under tremendous pressure after he fumbled the snap. The pitch back will go to Gill. Excuse me, into the ball game at this point is Keith Bowden, a backup tailback, 5'11", 155-pound senior. Heelan content to run the clock out here in the first half. No, they are not. Now they are asking for timeout with just 3 seconds left.
Bob, an interesting fact will be that Todd McCauley, and you mentioned it on the long run when he simply ran out of bounds, came up lame. He has not been back in that ball game, and that obviously could be a factor.
Let's pause 5 seconds now to allow our local stations to identify themselves. This is the Iowa Television Network.
Serving Siouxland, KTIV, Sioux City.
Three seconds left before halftime. Phil Carpuck apparently with one more trick up his sleeve. His ball club already leads in this ball game, 13-7, and Carpuck will talk it over. And now let's see what they have in store. Rich McLaughlin is the quarterback. Doug Skinner is the fullback. And the tailback is number 21, Keith Bowden. McLaughlin going deep, going for it all. And intercepted. Dennis Freeland brings it out to the 29-yard line. And that is the final play of the first half. The score in this one is Heelan 13, Cedar Falls 7. And we're going to take another look at this one, Mike.
With 3 seconds left, Phil Karpuck feeling his team had nothing to lose but to go for it. They throw it deep. Cedar Falls was way back defending for the long bomb and did the job that had to be done, and they picked it off. And, of course, the return by Heelan, but he is hit right in the middle at about the 45-yard line, and so the first half comes to a close. 13-7 the score, but a fine first half of football. And Bob, I know that both the locker rooms now, the strategy will really start to unfold on both sides, but these fans that are here, and there's a fine crowd here at the Unidome, they've seen two of Iowa's finest, obviously, going head-to-head.
Micah Dean is standing by on the field with Heelan head coach Phil Karpuck, who's got to be pretty happy. Take it away, Michael.
Coach of the Sioux City Heelan Crusaders. And Phil, you're dominating the game. Is that a surprise to you against this bigger team?
No, I think we played against a lot of big football teams during the year, and we're playing the kind of game that we can play. We've been able to take advantage of some breaks, and our defense is playing well. I wish we had all our guys, and I think we could do even better yet. I think Todd pulled the hamstring. We'll have to check him out here at halftime.
At first, the run wasn't working for you. You had to go to the pass, but now it seems you can vary your game quite a bit.
Well, we think so. We are able to move the ball both ways. We'll see what happens second half.
Any weakness in that Cedar Falls defense you found?
They're a good football team, a real good football team. We got a big half of football coming up.
All right, good luck second half.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Phil Karpuck, head coach of the Sioux City Heelan Crusaders. Now back upstairs to Bob Hogue.
Thank you very much, Micah Dean. It is halftime here at the Unidome. The score, Heelan 13, Cedar Falls 7. We'll be back with halftime activities right after these words. Time here at the Unidome, the Heelan Crusaders, a real Cinderella story, lead it 13-7 over the Tigers of Cedar Falls. If you joined us just a little bit late, a punt run back of 63 yards by Taylor Pine gave the Tigers a 7-0 lead over the Crusaders. But later in the first period, a pass from Rich McLaughlin to Steve Moran tied this ball game up at 7-7. Then early in the second period, after a Tiger turnover, a 2-yard run by Doug Skinner gave the Crusaders a lead of 13-7. Mike O'Connor, your observations on the first half of football.
Well, Bob, I think as we said from the outside, we knew that Heelan had really two capabilities, and that was the speed of Todd McCauley, and they would try to go to him, and I think they did. Early they found they couldn't, so they took to the air game. And their fine quarterback, Rich McLaughlin, did the job, and again, he's been called on probably not as much as he would like to be as far as passing is concerned, but tonight he had to. They had to throw over that big Cedar Falls line. The surprising thing, and I have not seen Cedar Falls play before tonight, but I've certainly read enough about them, and just seeing them in the first half, realize that they are a big and an awesome football team. I think the fact that they have not moved the ball a little better and been able to get together a sustained drive has been something that maybe has surprised me and probably our viewers as well. But it's a 13-7 football game. The state championship is on the line. The Cedar Falls Tigers defeated the previously unbeaten and top-ranked team, and I'll tell you what, we're in for a fine second half.
Earlier today, it was the Class A and the Class 1A game as Lone Tree and Packwood Pekin came out on top. In the Class A championship game, this one matched Fenton Central against Lone Tree. Following an interception, Central gets on the scoreboard as Richie Filgers goes over from 2 yards out. It's 8-0 Satellites. Lone Tree comes right back. Tony Kruger goes deep to Steve Forbes from 36 yards out. It ended at the half, tied 8-8. In the second half, the Kruger air show continued. He hits Mike Hahn, who does the rest, scoring what proved to be the game-winning touchdown, making it 15-8 Lone Tree. They would never look back as Lone Tree wins the A championship 30-8. In Class 1A, it was a battle of the unbeatens. West Bend against Packwood Pekin. After a scoreless first half, Pekin's Paul Adams scored from 5 yards out. It was 8-0 Panthers. West Bend answers the challenge. Scott Krug goes in virtually untouched from 16 yards out. This made it 8-6 ball game. Pekin in the lead. With West Bend driving late in the game, Pekin's Doug Greason intercepts the West Bend pass. That put the icing on the cake. A Pekin-Packwood win. They win the 1A championship 15-6 over West Bend tonight. And it is halftime here at the Unidome. 13-7 is our score. Let's go down and listen now to the Ankeny High School Band. It is halftime here at the Unidome, the 4A state championship game. Hope you're enjoying it along the Iowa Television Network. Your score is Heelan 13, Cedar Falls 7. We'll be back with more right after this. And we're going to go down to the field right now where Mike Adine is standing by with Bernie Saga. Take it away, Michael.
We're with Bernie Saga. He's the executive secretary of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. And Bernie, boy, the season went fast. Seemed like just last year we were doing this.
Just straight downhill. It was a great season, though. It's been an exciting season for high school football.
How have the playoffs been so far this year? How's the attendance compared to last year?
Oh, I think they're about the same. The first night it was awful chilly, so a lot of good fans didn't get out. But basically, we've had good attendance.
Cold again tonight. Good thing you're playing indoors.
It's super that we got this wonderful facility. I'm sure glad that Stan Sheriff and the university up here let us use it.
Last year was the first year you went to the 5 classes. You did it again this year. How's it going?
That part's super good. Our meeting will take place in December where our playoff people will talk to see if there are going to be any more changes for next year. But basically, it's been a real good year. And as far as the 5 classes, that's solid.
How about this game? A little surprise?
Oh, great game so far. Gee whiz. It's been exciting. And I'll tell you, I'd hate to try to pick a winner.
Last year, after the playoffs were over, you worked on that film for the National High School Association. How did that turn out?
Well, it was a great film. It's shown in every state in the union, and it was an outstanding film done here in Cedar Falls.
Players did a good job?
Oh, great.
They all wanted to be stars.
Oh, all of them.
Any predictions on the second half of this game?
Nope. It's going to be a great game, though, because we got a super crowd here tonight, and it's really going to bring out the best in everybody. Both teams are ready to play.
How about tomorrow? We have 2 more games. Those should be barn burners as well.
The Class 2A and 3 will be great games. We'll start at 11 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. So they'll be super games. When it's all over with, we'll have had a great weekend of football.
How about basketball coming up and everything else? Everything going on as planned?
Right on. We're going to have that 3-point play this year. We're excited about it. Our coaches voted 77% in favor of trying the 3-point play. And if people can get excited watching some guy stuff a ball from 1 inch, they ought to really get happy from 19.5 foot.
We'll be looking forward to a good basketball season as well.
We'll have a great basketball season. Our wrestlers are ready to go, and really, we got them all set to go.
Thanks, Bernie. Another good tournament.
Oh, thank you so much. We got great coverage. We appreciate it.
All right, Bernie Saga, Executive Secretary from the Iowa High School Athletic Association. Now back to Bob Hogue.
Thank you very much, Mike and Bernie. Let's go downstairs again. A little listen in with the Ankeny Marching Band. Boy, I want to tell you, the crowd here really loves the Ankeny Marching Hawks as they march off at halftime at the Unidome with the Heelan Crusaders on top of the Cedar Falls Tigers by a score of 13-7. We have some statistics as we wait for the Hall of Fame presentation at this point. In the ball game, as you would imagine, with Sioux City on top, they have 8 first downs to the Tigers 5. The Crusaders with 100 yards rushing and 77 passing to the Tigers 51 yards rushing and 7 passing. The Tigers' big statistic is that big run back by Taylor Pine for a touchdown, and that's their only touchdown of the ball game. Heelan 6 of 12 with 2 interceptions at this point. Cedar Falls 1 of 4 passing with 1 interception. Individually in the ball game, Todd McCauley, before he pulled up lame, and Phil Karpuck talked a little bit about the fact that he might have a pulled hamstring. 10 rushes for 75 yards. 64 of them came on that one play. Nick Winke, on the other hand, has 10 carries for 52 yards. His long one, an 11-yarder. Scott Triber and Rick Majerus have combined on 1 of 4 passing for the Tigers at this point. Schreiber is 0 of 2. Majerus is 1 of 2. The leading receiver in the ballgame at this point is Steve Moran with 2 receptions. John O'Brien also with 2 receptions at this point right now for the Heelan Crusaders. Another statistic in the ballgame, punting. Tom White, 3 punts for a 40-yard average. He enjoys the calm confines of the Unidome. Nick Winke, 2 punts for an average of 31 yards, but one time he was under tremendous pressure. We're going to be going downstairs momentarily to Mo Kelly of the Iowa High School Athletic Association and their Hall of Fame presentation down near midfield. Let's go downstairs to Mo Kelly.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we have your attention for a few moments, please? At this time, we have some special presentations we'd like to make. You know, our high school football program has grown tremendously through the years, and I think the big crowd here tonight and the great enthusiasm shown is evidence that we do have a great program going. One reason for this, of course, is that we have had some great coaches. Coaches not only in the technical sense, but also more or less father figures to those young athletes who work so hard in those high school football programs. We're going to honor some of these outstanding coaches who have had great careers here tonight. The Iowa Football Coaches Association started its Football Coaches Hall of Fame a few years ago. They've been inducting new members each year, and we have 5 gentlemen that we're going to induct here this evening. They have all won over 100 games as coaches in their high school football coaching career. A couple of them have won state championships. 2 or 3 of them have been playoff contenders at different times. They've all had many, many All-Staters, conference champions, and just very, very successful seasons and careers. So let's meet the new members of the Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame. And to present the awards to these gentlemen, we have the secretary of that group, Walt Fiegel, who is the athletic director and football coach at Sioux City, and also we have Denny Freerichs, who is the chairman of the Hall of Fame committee. First of all, I'd like you to meet Hall of Famer, currently the head coach and has been for several years now at Pella High School, Norris Hale. And Norris is accompanied by his wife, Janie. Next up, another Hall of Fame selection, 1982, formerly head coach at Ames High School for many successful years. Meet Coach Phil Johnson and wife, Sandy. The next gentleman had 2 consecutive state championship teams. He's still the athletic director and head football coach at Rock Rapids Central Lion. Meet Coach Dick Null and wife, Jan. And finally, another gentleman who won a state championship not too long ago at Marion High School. He's now the head coach at Coe College. Meet Hall of Famer Bob Thurness and wife, Carol. We'd also like to mention that another inductee this year is Don Pryor of Des Moines Roosevelt. Don, very ill and unable to be with us this evening, we're sorry to say. How about another nice hand for our Hall of Fame coaches? Another thing that the Football Coaches Association has undertaken now is a scholarship to a young man who is intending to go into the coaching profession. And this will be presented by Bob Thompson, chairman of that committee and the head football coach and AD at Jefferson High. He'll be assisted by Joe Gitch, who is one of the fellows that is helping to sponsor, along with his organization, this fine scholarship. And the award this year goes to a young man from Stanton High School, now attending Buena Vista. His name is Kevin Blunt. How about a nice hand for Kevin? Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, just about 3 years ago, the Iowa High School Football Coaches Association, along with the Iowa High School Athletic Association, started its Players Hall of Fame. Needless to say, in this short span, we've certainly have inducted some people with tremendous credentials, and this year is no exception. We have 4 gentlemen that we're going to induct into our Hall of Fame this evening as players, and we'd like to introduce them to you at this time. To present these awards, 2 members of the IHSAA Board of Control, the current chairman of the board, Dr. Ken Sand of Southeast Polk, the superintendent at that school. He'll be assisted by John Gannon, superintendent of school at Emmitsburg. Our first Hall of Famer still holds many, many records at Burlington High School, where he was a prep. He went on and played for 4 professional teams, including the New Orleans Saints, and while with the Saints, earned a spot in the Pro Bowl. Meet Hall of Famer from Burlington High, Touchdown Tony Baker. Next up, we have a lineman that made a name for himself at Cedar Rapids Roosevelt High. Rated as one of the hardest hitting, quickest linemen ever to come out of that city. He went on later to Parsons College and earned All-American honors there. Later he coached in Iowa high schools and now is a member of the Cedar Rapids Prairie Community School System. Meet Hall of Famer from Cedar Rapids Roosevelt, Chuck Dostal, accompanied by his wife Diane. Jerry Groom, a former Des Moines Dowling player, was unable to be with us this evening. He had a great career. He played at Notre Dame after being an all-state performer at Dowling and had several great seasons there, including a senior season in which he captained the Fighting Irish. We're happy to have with us this evening to accept the award for Jerry Groom, his former high school coach, ex-Nady. How about a nice hand for him? And finally, a fellow that we had the pleasure of inducting into our Wrestling Hall of Fame just last winter. Now he goes into the Iowa High School Football Players Hall of Fame. A former Fort Dodge High star in 2 sports, later went to the University of Iowa, played on great teams there under Coach Forrest Evashevsky. He was also an NCAA wrestling champion. He later played in the Canadian League and was an all-star there. How about a nice hand for Hall of Famer from Fort Dodge High, Sherwin Thorson, along with his wife, Barb. How about it, folks? Another great hand. These are some great names in Iowa high school football. Thank you very much for your attention.
The score 13-7 at halftime. The Heelan Crusaders lead the Cedar Falls Tigers. Shortly, we will have an interview with Tiger head coach Pat Mitchell with Micah Dean on the sidelines. But first, these words from our sponsor.
Time all year we've been behind. No, we don't like it.
What are you going to change? You know, your defense is playing almost the whole half.
Well, we're our own worst enemies are throwing the ball on the ground and making all kinds of mistakes, and we're trying to rectify that.
All right, good luck second half.
Thank you.
Pat Mitchell, head coach of the Cedar Falls Tigers. Now back to Bob Hogue.
Thank you very much, Micah Dean. We still have, however, 24 minutes of football, and it should be an exciting second half here at the Unidome. Bob Hogue and Mike O'Connor, where the Heelan Crusaders lead the Cedar Falls Tigers by a score of 13-7. Obviously, that blocked extra point looms very large in this ball game at this point, because the Crusaders will be kicking off to the Tigers. As Mike and Pat mentioned, the Tiger defense was on the field most of the first half. The Crusader offense did an outstanding job of moving the football. Steve Moran will be set to kick off for the Crusaders. And we're underway here in the second half. How about this? How about this? The Crusaders have the football. Moran's kick hit Steve Davis. It hit Steve Davis as he was backing up, setting up the block, and was recovered by Dan Conlon. How about that?
You don't see this very often, Bob. A line shot, just like a shortstop, but he wasn't ready, and it just bounced right off the pads. And the Crusaders fall on the football, and they have great field position at the 45-yard line.
And Todd McCauley, who was injured in the first half, is not back there in the offensive backfield as they start 1st and 10. And the Crusaders move on 1st down. The movement on their far right side, I believe that was Doug Persinger who moved, and it'll be a 5-yard mark-off now, so make it 1st and 15 against the Crusaders.
Bob, the report we got was that Todd McCauley did pull a hamstring muscle, and they do not think that he'll play this second half.
That is really very bad news for the Crusaders. McCauley, who got off a 64-yard run and may have gone all the way, 94 yards for a touchdown had he not pulled up lane. That would have given the Crusaders a 2-touchdown lead. Instead, it is just a 6-point lead. Double wing to the near side. McLaughlin will throw and completes it to John O'Brien. O'Brien with the reception in Cedar Falls territory at the 42-yard line. Mark Peterson with the stop for the Tigers. Let's set the backfield again after we take a look at this play. McLaughlin rolling out. He was hit that time by Scott Engen, putting on tremendous pressure, and O'Brien makes the reception. In the backfield, along with McLaughlin, Doug Skinner. That's it. Double wing to the far side as the Heelan Crusaders come out in a different alignment to start this second half. Big pressure on McLaughlin. They hit O'Brien, and he's got the first down inside the 35 down to the 33-yard line. Kurt Jensen made the tackle. Obviously, Phil Carpuck and the Crusaders saw something, and they felt that they could get outside on this Tiger defense.
Rolls to the right again, and they'll have to depend on this aerial game. And O'Brien, wide open, lost his footing a little bit as he tried to cut, but he picks up good yardage. First down for Heelan.
Kurt Jensen made the stop, but 1st and 10 this time for the Crusaders. Moran is the motion man, and the pitch back will go to Bowden. Bowden trying to get outside. Not much room there. Gain of about 2 down to the 31-yard line. Taylor Pine makes the stop for the Tigers. Keith Bowden, who has come in to replace Todd McCauley, who went out with an injury in the second period. They also have Sean Gill, a junior running back. We've seen him just a little bit. This time, Bowden lines up to the near side, double wing to the far side. McLaughlin will throw again. Same pattern, same result. Gain of 7 on the play. McLaughlin to O'Brien inside the 25 down to the 23. How about this? John O'Brien with 3 receptions here in the second half. And McCauley is back into the ball game. Well, we anticipated that he may not play, but he is. We have a timeout on the field. The score, Heelan 13, Cedar Falls 7. We'll be back with more right after this. 7 left to play in the third period. Heelan leads Cedar Falls 13-7. The Crusaders, after picking up a first down, have the football in Cedar Falls territory at the 22-yard line. And Todd McCauley, who was not expected to play in the second half, is back in the football game. Todd McCauley, number 22, lines up in the backfield on the far side. And they fake it to McCauley. They run inside to Moran, who knocks over a man inside the 15 down to the 14. A gain of 9 on the play. The Crusaders continue to move the football. Taylor Pine making the stop. Inside counter to Moran. And he finds a big hole. Boy, he punished Taylor Pine. A gain of 9. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 1. Moran 4 carries for 14 yards. McLaughlin throwing 9 of 15 for 98 yards. 2nd and 1. Another new formation for the Crusaders. Skinner has the first down inside the 10-yard line. It will be 1st and goal Crusaders, trying to add to their lead. Kurt Jensen and Dave Youngblood making the tackle for the Tigers.
Well, I'll tell you what, watching the way this thing's going and then see Todd McCauley runs in, that'll teach us to listen to scouts or up here press box coaches, Bob, for our sources.
1st and goal Crusaders. Mark the football inside the 10. Handoff inside to Moran again. He busts 1 tackle. Tries to hammer down a couple of other defenders, but he stopped in his tracks at the 7-yard line. Gain of 2. It'll bring up a 2nd and goal at the 7.
Here we look again, and Moran getting a good workout. Breaks 1 tackle, just bounces off. Good power football. He got good leg drive.
Broke the tackle there of Rick Herman, but Ray Chan was there to greet him the 2nd time. 2nd and goal for the Crusaders. Double wing to the near side. Skinner is the man behind McLaughlin. McLaughlin will throw. Down inside the 1-yard line, Doug Persinger with the reception inside the 1-yard line. Taylor Pine on the coverage there for the Cedar Falls Tigers. Doug Persinger all alone. Every time they run this, every time the Crusader